Hi everyone, William Quang here from the Adelaide Hill Pain Clinic and the SA Running Injury Clinic. Welcome. So what I thought I would talk to today, just because obviously yesterday our local teams, the Crows and the Power, just started up their big pre-season campaigns. Just thought I'd talk about AFL players who have actually had heel issues. A big shout out to Bridget, who's the world's biggest AFL fan. She really loves AFL, so type in comments about how much she loves it. Now, I thought I'd just talk about this because it is actually a very common injury. In the last 18 months, I can probably name three AFL captains who've actually had heel pain, or in these three examples, it was plantar fascial issues. So the first captain is Jack Viney from the Melbourne Demons. So that really stuffed him around all last season. The second one was Mark Murphy from Carlton, and our local captain Taylor Walker. So these three had quite serious issues which really affected their campaigns. I think Jack was very lucky to make it into the final series. Tex, as we probably remember and was well documented, his year wasn't that great last year because of it. On Port's front, for example, in my opinion, Port's most important player on their list is actually Paddy Ryder. He had an Achilles heel issue, which really just completely stuffed up his season. When he was back on the track, just like Tex, he was not that great. So yeah, I just thought there's just three players or four players which I can name off the top of my head in the last 18 months. Other players which come to mind straight away, I can think of Brad Odden from Geelong when he was at Geelong. Fraser Garrick, if those people can remember back about 10 years ago. Fraser Garrick, what's his name? G9? No, was that his name? And Josh Kennedy, Coleman medalist from West Coast Eagles. That was probably about 6 years ago. So there's some really big examples of how common this injury is. Probably the most famous one is actually Robert Harvey from St Kilda Football Club, 300 gamer and twice Brownlow medalist. So the reason why his was so famous was because his heel injury was called the Harvey floor banger, because for the way that he fixed his injury was actually jumping off a table and actually rupturing his plantar fascia, and then it started to heal. Now, I would strongly suggest not to do that. His plantar fascia was actually hanging by a thread, so it was actually about to bust anyway. But that initiated, he basically did a surgery for himself without actually having to go see the surgeon. All right, so they're the famous heel pain injuries in AFL players. Now, my advice to all those people who are actually starting pre-season now, I know it's all dark and dreary at the moment, but my advice, and this is coming from also working with AFL teams. I worked with the Melbourne Demons, St Kilda, and what was the last team? Western Bulldogs, about 17 years ago when I first started. Basically, pre-season came, and back then, and a lot of players are still doing it now, they roll up to pre-season doing their 2.2 kilometre or 3K time trials in their footy boots, okay? And pretty much just run out in sneakers. And also with all the skills training for the next 3 or 4 months, they're hard surfaces. Grip is not an issue. You're not running around in mud pits. So essentially run out in sneakers. Okay, so that's my bit of advice to all the footy players who are starting up their pre-season. All right, for Thursday's Facebook Live, we're going to actually show you the new and revolutionary shockwave machine. It's called Focal Shockwave. So most of the clinics are running around and have what's called radial or extracorporeal shockwave therapy. We're actually trialling the latest and greatest machine. Not cheap. It's about the cost of a BMW, but we're trialling it, and we may look at investing in it in the future. But yeah, it's twice as powerful as your standard shockwave machine. All right, gang, we'll see you on Thursday. Bye.